Hello Dark Souls 3 fans and welcome back to another episode of Methodical Gamer. Today we will be looking at the Pontiff Knight Curved Sword. In order to properly wield this weapon, you will need to meet the minimum base stat requirement of 12 Strength, 18 Dexterity, and 10 Intelligence. This weapon upgrades through the pathway of Twinkling Titanite, so at a plus 5 this weapon scales with a D in Strength and a C in Dexterity. One side note, you can already see this is a 40-40 quality build. That's because it's scaling with the Strength and Dex, but I only have 10 points into the Intelligence, which is the minimum base stat requirement because there is no scaling off the Intelligence. Taking a look at the left hand, we have the Black Knight Shield. I chose this shield in particular for two reasons. One, it has a good ratio of damage reduction to equipment load weight. And secondly, it has the Battle Art weapon skill. This allows us to use the right hand Battle Art Frostblade even when it's one-handed. To be honest, I'm quite proud of these armor choices because it fits in the rule of Fashion Souls by not having a repeat of any two pieces of the same set of armor. So while I'm showcasing these, I would like for you guys to comment in the section below what Fashion Souls combination is your favorite, and if I like it, I might just use one in a future video and give you and possibly your YouTube channel, if you have one, a shout out. And lastly, for the rings, we're running all +3, Steel Protection, Havels, Calorimetry, and Favor. Lastly, we'll flip over to the more detailed stat numbers for this build. I know a lot of you guys like to see it. If you have any questions or comments about it, feel free to comment in the section below, and I'm always happy to talk with you guys about it. There are a lot of things that make this weapon so impressive. The first being this weapon is a boss at putting a lot of pressure on your opponent, which causes them to panic. The main reason for this is because the Curved Sword moveset in particular is great for chase downs. Even more of a reason is this is the longest reaching Curved Sword in the game. Curved Swords have been in the competitive meta for Dark Souls for a while for a good reason. When you have a high mobility target with a wide range of options, you're going to quickly exhaust your opponents mentally just because only one misstep will cause you to get punished. One of the best things about this weapon is its Battle Art Frostblade. First, the Battle Art makes what is already the longest Curved Sword in the game reach even further, so this becomes one of the best weapons for catching opponents who panic roll away from your R1s. The delay of the Battle Art is great for catching players in what I like to call a pseudo combo. So second, it works together to counter against players who misspace their characters when they attack. And then lastly, a lot of players forget that this weapon has a second attack to the Battle Art, so they only expect one attack, so you can catch them just when they think they're in the clear. One thing to keep in mind is always be careful about your execution and your spacing when using this Battle Art, because it can be easily interrupted with a simple Greatsword R1 attack. Now, I don't say this is too much of a negative because how little FP consumption it takes to use the Frostblade animation, so you can play around with it until you find the perfect spacing for each opponent. A topic I talked quite a lot about back in Dark Souls 2 was whether you should be a proactive or a reactive player in PvP, and this is something that needs to be brought up, I think, in particular with this weapon, because with the Curved Sword, you have the option to play both. You can be an offensive player, or you can be more of a defensive player and wait for your opponent to attack you first. For me personally, it depends on what my opponent's using. Usually with slower weapons, I'll wait for the opponent to attack first, and I'll try to respond quicker than they attack. And with opponents using faster weapons, I try to be the first one to strike, just because I know the Curved Sword has one of the fastest attack animations in the game. In the next two clips, I want to talk about something I'm seeing a lot more in Dark Souls PvP, and it's honestly quite disheartening. Players think it's a viable strategy, and in my personal opinion, it's not. What's happening is players use these strategies, and they're winning some fights here or there. But what you're seeing a lot more is you're seeing players that are dash spamming or backpedaling, because players think backpedaling is a viable option. They think that if players are coming to you and then you attack with an R1 spam, then you're making a viable combo, and honestly you're not. And there are points and times that you need to back off, and you do need to withdraw so you can regain some stamina. But constantly trying to dodge or backpedal, it's not a good strategy. And so what I'm going to show you is how to deal with this. You need to start attacking in ways that predict what your opponent's going to do. And secondly, you need to use attacks like the Battle Art animation to have a delayed attack, so you end up catching people that are panic rolling, panic dashing into your attacks. Now, I do need to say before someone says that I'm making a witch hunt out of these players, I did enjoy the fights with them. That's why they ended up making it into my video, but it's something I wanted to bring to people's attention. In the second fight, which you see people that are using great swords, and all they end up doing is either one-handing, two-handing it, and then spamming R1, and because they're abusing the hyper armor system, they end up catching people in combos that are far more skilled than them, frankly. And it goes back to what I'm saying, that people win fights, and so they think it makes what they're doing okay. Players need to be more focused on building their skills and building their knowledge in the game, rather than doing something they know that makes them win every single time. In closing, and in all honesty, the downside of this weapon that keep most players away is the weapon is not based upon one-shots or hyper armor abuse, and for that reason some players stay away because they don't feel it lends to an easy victory. But with this weapon in the hands of a more skilled player, I know that you can outclass a lot of those one-shot hyper armor builds because it's a powerhouse pseudo-combo weapon, and for that reason, I know that the Pontiff Knight curved sword is still definitely within the competitive meta of this game. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My goal is to get to 1,000 subs soon, so if you guys can help me out by clicking that like and subscribe button and tell your friends about my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys want to talk about this build or Dark Souls, you know I'm always willing to in the comment section below. Until next time, hope you have an awesome day or night wherever you are, and I hope to see you in the next video.